Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I thought we'd take a look at all of these solar divines on Howrse. A year or two ago I did make a profitable divines video on these solars that I own, but because it does look like these solar divines may be cycling back through, I thought that some players may want to hear about all of the solars just in case they want to prioritize getting some over others. This is a very nice set to have because their gifts are passes. This is definitely one of my favorite sets in the entire game for that reason. At this time, Earth is the first and only solar divine that we've seen so far, but based on previous patterns, I do expect the rest to follow eventually. I'm going to first go through each of their perks, and then at the end, I'll list them in my personal order of preference. We're going to start with Earth because she's the first of the set to be re-released. I don't know when we'll see her again. It's possible it won't be for a couple of years. I don't know. Hopefully it'll be sooner than that for those who missed the chance to get her just recently. Earth is a female and she can reproduce just once in her life with Sun to give birth to Moon. You do not need to own the Sun Divine in order to breed your Earth because Sun can offer unlimited public covers. Each time her son, Moon, celebrates a birthday, she'll gift you 10 passes. So, how this team works is that once you get Earth, you can breed her to Sun, produce your Moon, and then once you have Moon, you can completely ignore Earth, just set her aside in a breeding farm somewhere, and then just work on aging up your Moon Divine every day. Because once Moon celebrates a birthday, that's like 1 year old, 2 years old, 5, 6, etc., Earth will give you 10 passes. The next one is Sun. He is the divine that you get after you have obtained all of the other solar divines. He is a very nice one to have. He's a definite incentive to actually completing the entire set because he will give you 10 passes each day that another solar system horse gives you passes. Some of the other sets that do have a sort of final completion divine for completing the set, they actually don't give you anything. This one's nice because he does give you passes. He's not just a pretty trophy. So there is an incentive to actually completing the entire set. Moon, this is the son of Earth. Remember, Moon himself does not give you the passes. You just have to make sure that you work him every day so that Earth will give you the passes once Moon celebrates his birthday. If you'll notice, you see that Moon can be sold. However, I don't recommend selling him because there is no guarantee that that new owner will actually age him up every day for him to celebrate a birthday. And if he doesn't celebrate a birthday, Earth can't give you passes. This one is Pluto. You can travel around the Andromeda Galaxy in order to increase its skills. When riding around the Andromeda Galaxy, it has a chance of finding 10 passes. This is the only divine in the set whose pass drop is actually reliant on chance, so he's kind of at the bottom of my list for that reason. I don't have him, so I don't know, I don't have a record of how often he actually drops those passes. From what I've seen from players in the VIP form, it doesn't seem to be that often, but I am curious for anyone who has him. Do you have a record or so for the last few months or a year or so that kind of shows how often he's actually dropped the passes? Something else I am curious about is, can you go on multiple rides per day with him to have multiple chances of winning those passes? Because how the solar divines work, you can go on 1 hour ride increments. So if I go on 5 1 hour rides, do I have 5 chances of getting those passes? That's something else I'm curious about as well. The next one is Io. I have this one. He's definitely one of my top favorites out of this set because he will give you 10 passes every day so long as he finishes second in 2 competitions. 10 passes every day. That's insane. I really quite like that. However, once you get him, I do recommend that you spend several days on taking him on rides around Jupiter to increase his skills. Unfortunately, the solar divines only start with around 200 per skill compared to some of the newer divines like the love divines that have 400 per skill or the Maoris that have 500. So it is a bit tricky, I find, finishing second as opposed to getting first, but just spend some days increasing his skills, use some other divines as fillers. I do have a sort of double team method with him to help me get second in those competitions that I'll talk about in a little bit. Saturn is the next one. At every full moon, he brings you 50 passes, provided you logged in within the past 3 days. This isn't as many passes as EO, but this is an easy 50 passes, because every real life full moon, that's every full moon that you see on the calendar, he'll give you those passes. You just have to make sure that you log in within the past 3 days. Otherwise, you can just set him in a breeding farm somewhere and forget about him. Mars is the next one. I've wanted him for a very long time. He has a really nice design, and his perk is nice too, as he does give you 10 passes each time he wins 20 skill points. For my divines, I don't have any Rainbow Divine perks. I don't have the Grand Prix fountain, but I can get 9 points per day by going on rides with my divines. I'm not sure if I can get at least 10 without any extra perks, but still, that's 10 passes every like 2 to 3 days. Definitely every 2 days if you do have the Grand Prix fountain. So it's a fair number of passes, and it's not really that hard to go on rides to increase those skill points. Jupiter is next. He's definitely in the top of my favorites. He's at the very top of my favorites, actually. I've had him since his original release. He's really nice because he offers you 10 passes every day so long as you win 2 competitions, which I find to be easier than EO. So what I do with my EO and Jupiter is that I look for competitions that have just 2 slots left to fill. I'll compare the skills of the other horses entered to see if my EO can beat those horses. If I know EO can beat those horses, then I can enter him, and then I can enter Jupiter because my Jupiter has more skills than my EO. I can use them as like a double team, and that's 20 passes every single day. The next one is Mercury. He brings you 10 passes every time the date is a prime number, provided you logged in within the past 3 days. This one is a really easy 10 passes every time the date's prime number, which I think is about 10 or 11 times per month, which does depend on whether or not that month has 31 days, but he's a very easy divine to get passes from. Neptune, another easy one. He gives you 30 passes every 10 days that you log in. I don't think that's as many passes as Mercury, but still, it's easy passes. Just make sure that you log in. Venus is another female, and she can breed once in her life with Mars to give birth to Uranus. Like Sun, you do not have to own Mars to breed your Venus because Mars has unlimited public covers. She's sort of the either opposite or partner of Saturn, I guess you could say, because every new moon, Venus brings you 50 passes provided you logged in within the past 3 days. Another easy perk, and she is a 2-for-1 divine. However, you don't get anything extra besides a trophy for owning Uranus because he doesn't offer you passes at all. He's just a pretty trophy, but he's pretty. That's it for all of the solar divines. What I'm going to do now is go through and list them in my personal order of preference, which is primarily based on the number of passes that they give you per month, as well as how easy I think it is to get passes from them. A couple of these might be a bit controversial. Some players might rank a couple of these a bit higher just for the 2-for-1 divine aspect, but I'm not as concerned about that because I'd just rather have divines that give me good gifts rather than getting extras for my trophies. So the very first divine on my list is definitely going to be Jupiter because that's 300 passes or so per month, 10 passes every day. And once you get his skills high enough by target training him, it's really easy to win those 2 competitions per day. EO I'm going to put as slot number 2 just because I find getting second place to be a bit trickier than getting first. However, he will give you 10 passes per day just like Jupiter. Mars is going to be my third pick. That's about 150 passes per month, and I do think that going on rides is pretty easy. It doesn't take a lot of your concentration to activate his gift. Mercury is going to be my fourth pick. It's a really easy, roughly 100 passes per month, again, depending on the number of days in that month. Neptune will be after Mercury. He offers about 60 passes, I guess maybe 90, depending on when he's actually born, but at least 60 passes per month and a very easy 60 passes. My next pick is going to be Earth. She might be one that other players will prioritize getting because recall, she can give birth to Moon. This is a 2-for-1 divine. However, she's only about 50 passes per month based on how long it'll take your moon to reach a birthday. Saturn and Venus are going to be tied for the next slot. If you want, you can rank Venus actually higher than Saturn if you want to, because she's another 2-for-1 divine. She gives birth to Uranus, but Uranus does not offer passes. Saturn and Venus will give you 50 passes per month. One will be every full moon, one will be every new moon. And the bottom of my list, I'm going to put Pluto just because I don't know how often he'll actually drop you those 10 passes. I'm not going to rank Moon or Uranus on this list because if you have Earth, you'll get Moon. If you have Venus, you'll get Uranus. I'm also not going to rank Sun because you can only get him once you've obtained all of the other solar divines. However, because he does offer you passes, once your other solar divines give you passes, I will say this is a very good set. He's a definite incentive to completing the entire set. Because recall, Jupiter and Io, that's 20 passes between the two of them per day, which is actually 30 passes per day if you have Sun. So very good set to complete. That's why I'm looking forward to completing this set. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. But remember, you can also look in the special horses pages and look at what their perks are if you ever need a reminder. I'm also curious about Pluto's actual drop rate, if anybody has records on that. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Good luck if you plan on collecting the solar horses, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.